desert of the rivers, probably the Tigris and the Euphrates. So he's giving them everything between Egypt and Iraq. Yeah.
Can you give your take on 23:19 about the kid in the milk? What's your interpretation of that?
I think the rabbis have made far too much of it. I mean, I just think it's something against cruelty to animals. It's just not nice to take a young thing and boil it in its mother's milk. It's unseemly.
There's the point of the cheese and the hamburgers and all that stuff. Is that?
Nah, I don't. That's what the rabbis call building a fence around the Torah. That's all Talmudic stuff. There's nothing about here. It's not applied here. It's not said here. That's part of Judaism. That's different Judaism. Judaism is based on the Talmud. The Talmud is a document that developed from 2nd century BC to 8th century AD. It's got 3 different layers of material, discussions in schools, like scholastic sort of things, different things of that kind. It's very complicated stuff. Very legalistic. So just like Christianity, you take a passage out of here and build it into you shall not break a bone in the Paschal lamb. Oh, well, that becomes Jesus on the cross, so you shouldn't break his bones because he's the, everyone was doing it. It's just the rabbis did it in their way, Christians did it in their way. You follow me? So yeah, I mean, I'm not the last word. Who am I? No one's going to listen to what I say. What's going to be listened to is what the tradition says. The tradition says, oh, this means don't eat milk and meat together, have separate knives and forks, have separate sinks, have separate plates, have separate everything, and so on and so forth. Well, okay, if that helps them, makes them feel pious and holy, God bless them. I'm not going to gainsay their customs and how they want to approach this. The reason they do that, they say, again, is the command that they have is to build a fence around the Torah. It's not, even that's not here, but that's what they're doing. So they don't even, lest pre-adventure they incur one commandment without realizing, knowingly doing something, they want to do all those other things. That's the fence. It's called the fence. So I think that developed over time, and then people got used to it, and so it became part of their legal behavior. But, I mean, you can read. You can get a religious person to come in here and tell you it's very opposite of me, but it's not here. The same way a Christian will come in and say, oh, well, there's resurrection of the dead there. Yeah, that's what you think, but it's not here. That's what you want to read into it, but it isn't there. Or Paul will come in and say, oh, Moses is a liar and a cheat and a scoundrel. He didn't have any irradiation in his face. That's just because he didn't want the Jews, he was a cheater. He didn't want the Jews to know there was nothing in the law. It was a big waste of time. That may be, he may be right, but again, as I told you before, I wouldn't say it like that. I don't think it's not nice that he expressed himself like that, and I don't think most founders of great religions speak about other religions like that. I think that's the problem between Judaism and Christianity, and it's caused a lot of bitterness because the Jews don't know where it's coming from because they don't read Paul. I do read Paul, and I know where it's coming from, the hatred and the antagonism. And so the Jews are taking blows, and so then they respond with the antagonism. They don't know where the blows and the reason for the blows. And so it goes on. All the accusations, killed all the prophets, as we've done. We've talked about over and over again, we've heard about killing all the prophets, and as I told all my classes, where are the prophets that are killed? Name me one. All prophets have trouble, but there's not a single prophet killed in any of the books here. So, I mean, that's just polemical slander. And then it becomes formulas. It's all through the Quran, isn't it? We're reading over and over again in the Quran. The Jews who killed all of the prophets. Then you hear people in Indonesia saying, oh, you Jews, you killed all the prophets. What are you talking about? Do you read anything? Do you know anything? It's impossible. That's what I mean. Poetry is truer than history. It's what people think happened. It's what they're fed, what they believe. So again, you get a Paul who presents, Moses as not wanting the people to know that the light of the Lord had gone out, which is not here in the book. And then you get a rabbi who says, this means have separate knives and forks. That's my answer. A lot of very good answers. But I'm not a religious teacher. I mean, I am in a way in that I know what I think is nonsense and can't stand up, but I have no positive doctrine to give you to replace it. That's for you. That's for you to create. If you want my own belief, to me, religion is aesthetics. It's something I think I may have said. It pleases one to do something. Acting in a holy manner is a pleasing thing. It's something that I prefer. I have a choice. I choose to live life in a certain way. I don't want to live life. I have one chance to live life. I'm only at one time here. I don't want to live it in a polluted, corrupt way. I don't want to degrade myself. That's a matter of aesthetics, a matter of taste. And I choose to be righteous if I can at all costs. I don't want to make other people suffer for what I do. I want to be righteous. And I respect the other people who are. I don't want to live a sleazebag life. So these are things now there are people who don't care about such things. There are hundreds, thousands, millions of them, you know. But to my mind, that's the basis for religious feeling. I choose to live life the highest way you possibly can, if you can. Now, you say, well, you're teaching at Long Beach. Is that the highest thing you can do? Well, it looks like it. I don't have any other choice. So to my mind, that's been the highest thing I can do in my life. I mean, it could have been anything I wanted. It could have been a lawyer, a doctor, a physicist, a computer engineer, a space program person, or whatever. So I'm doing this because to my mind, it's the highest thing that I can do. And I wouldn't have chosen any of the other things anyway. Plus, to my mind, they were lower order things to do, and I wasn't going to do them. So that's a matter of taste. It's nothing to do with anything else. So how you live in a religious way is taste. Does it please you to live in a certain way, behave in a certain way? That's aesthetics and taste. And my only recommendation to any class, try to live, you've got one life, try to live it the highest way you can. I don't know if that means making as much money as you can or something like that. I don't think that's what it means. But try to live it the highest way you can because anything else is less satisfying to you personally. Okay, you get me into these. So you wanted me to talk about why I disagree with the rabbis and the others. Okay, now I think that's something of what's going on here. I think the priests have gotten in the way here and added a lot of other things. But for instance, here, you should in Lot 23 be just. You shouldn't support guilty men with malicious evidence. You should, you should,